Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Life Sciences by Meiosis. This is a completely new series based on the topic of meiosis. I have done an 8-part video series on the first topic of Life Sciences Grade 12, which is based on DNA, the Code of Life. Please go check out that series. It contains 8 lessons that are in 8 separate videos. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and please do share the link to this video to anyone who might be interested in ensuring that they ace their exams. My name is Meiosis, a teacher from Milner High School all the way in the Northwest Province. This will be lesson 1. It is an introduction to meiosis. Here we will be doing some important preliminary concepts that you need to understand before we look into meiosis, the cell division. Before we go into the lesson of today, let us check how the lesson series will be broken down into different lessons that are contained in different videos. I have decided to divide the lesson series on the topic meiosis into 4 distinct lessons. Each lesson will comprise of its own video. So on today's lesson is lesson 1. Like I said in the previous slide, it is the introduction to meiosis. We will be looking at the diploid cell versus what a haploid cell is. We will also be looking at what a somatic cell is versus what a gamete is. We will be looking at the human life cycle, which are the different stages that occur within or around the human life. We will also be looking at the chromosome structure. Now here, remember, on the previous lesson series on the DNA Code of Life, we have looked into what the chromosome is in lesson 1 and lesson 3 of that video series. But for context, we are going to be looking at the chromosome structure again. We will also be looking at the human karyotype. So these are the preliminary concepts that we need to learn before we delve into the process of meiosis. On a separate video, I will be doing lesson 2, which is based on the process of meiosis. Unlike mitosis that you learned about in grade 10, meiosis is divided into 2 meiotic divisions, which will be meiosis 1 as well as meiosis 2. On a separate video, that will be lesson 3, we will be looking at genetic variation. Now, here we will be looking at how meiosis ensures genetic variation. There are 2 particular ways in which meiosis ensures genetic variation, and that is crossing over as well as random arrangement of chromosomes. The 4th and final video will be on lesson 4, where we will be looking at abnormal meiosis. And under abnormal meiosis, the prescribed content for abnormal meiosis in your grade 12 examination guidelines is only non-disjunction, nothing else. So these are the 4 lessons that will be in this lesson series. Be sure to hit the notification bell and let YouTube notify you when I will be posting each individual lesson so that you will never be left behind. Okay, guys, without wasting any of your time, let us get right into today's lesson. Okay, guys, the concept of cell division is actually very, very simple. Very simple. The word cell division is self-explanatory. Okay, so cell division is when the cell divides. Okay, one cell divides to make more cells. It is as simple, it is as basic as that. Okay, in grade 10, you did the cell division that is called mitosis. And remember, you have one cell, the original cell, that is called the mother cell, which will divide into two daughter cells. So the cells that are produced after cell division are called daughter cells, and the original cell we usually refer to as a mother cell. So like I said, the word cell division is when one cell divides to make more cells. Of course, there are details and steps to the cell division, but on this slide, I just wanted to explain the concept in its entirety. That cell division is when you start with one cell, it divides to make more cells. All right, as simple as that. Now the details as to how the cell divides and what happens through the different phases, we will look at in lesson 2. This is just an introductory lesson for now. Okay, so this picture is showing mitosis. I know that this lesson is on meiosis, all right? But I was just giving you some background information, explaining what cell division is based on what you already know. So, just to give you a visual in terms of a drawing of how DNA is packaged or is organized within the nucleus. Remember, when we analyze the nucleus of a cell, this diagram is not showing the whole cell, but the nucleus itself, like we said. There is our DNA, and it is organized into threads, okay? So those threads are called the chromatin network. Now, when we analyze the cell and we look and see the nucleus containing threads of DNA, which are called the chromatin network, we know that that cell is not dividing. Either by mitosis or by meiosis, it is not dividing yet. So this is the nucleus of a cell showing the chromatin network, and we know that that is before cell division. However, like we said in the previous 2 slides, when you analyze the nucleus of a cell and you see these distinct structures called chromosomes, you must know that that cell is dividing. Okay, so the DNA that is organized as the chromatin network will condense into structures that are called chromosomes when the cell is undergoing either mitosis or it is undergoing meiosis. On the following slide, we are going to be looking at the structure of a chromosome. You might be asked to draw a structure of a chromosome in your examinations or in your formal assessments. So the next slide, we will be looking at what a replicated chromosome is versus what an unreplicated chromosome is. All right, guys, so this is a separate concept. Remember, on the previous slide, we looked at what a chromosome is. So usually in your publications, textbooks, study guides, and etc., you will see a chromosome drawn like this. Now, when you see a chromosome drawn like this, remember what we said a chromosome is. A chromosome is basically how DNA is packaged within the nucleus of a cell when the cell is undergoing cell division, either mitosis or meiosis. So this is what you will typically see within the cell. However, this type of chromosome is called a replicated chromosome. Okay, guys? It is called a replicated chromosome because it contains 2 chromatids. So you would have chromatid 1. This is chromatid 1 on the left-hand side. And then you will have chromatid 2. That is chromatid 2 on the right-hand side. And these 2 chromatids are joined together by a structure that is called the centromere. This is a replicated chromosome because it contains 2 chromatids that are joined together by a centromere. All right. However, chromosomes don't always look like this. I know that a lot of publications draw chromosomes as replicated. However, chromosomes don't always look like this. Chromosomes sometimes look like that. Okay. Now, This is a chromosome. It is, don't call it a chromatid, please. This is a chromosome. The difference between this chromosome and that chromosome is that this chromosome only contains one chromatid. So if a chromosome contains two chromatids that are joined together by a centromere, we call it a replicated chromosome. However, when you see a cell containing chromosomes with only one chromatid, this we call an unreplicated chromosome. Now, this chromosome and that chromosome are actually the same chromosome, okay? This one is a chromosome before DNA replication occurs, all right? It is a chromosome before DNA replication occurs. Hence, it is said to be unreplicated. Now, an unreplicated chromosome with one chromatid becomes a replicated chromosome having two chromatids after DNA replication. Listen, let's make sense to this. Unreplicated chromosome is a chromosome before DNA replication. It is unreplicated. We find replicated chromosomes within the nucleus of a cell after DNA replication. Hence, they are called replicated chromosomes. Okay, let's just remind ourselves what the term DNA replication means. Remember, we dealt with DNA replication in the third lesson of the previous video series when we were doing the DNA code of life. So to better understand the process of DNA replication, what it is, when it occurs, and why it occurs, and what are the effects of DNA replication within the cell, please look at video number 3, excuse me. Look at video number 3. It is lesson 3 and it is titled DNA replication. You will get a full background into the process of DNA replication. Okay, now, when DNA replication occurs within the cell, all the DNA that is contained within the individual chromatids. Let me just do this. Remember, we said that a chromatid of a chromosome is nothing but DNA that is coiled over and over and over around histone proteins. Now, the chromatid of this chromosome contains DNA. DNA replication is when the DNA within the chromosome makes an identical copy of itself. Now, in this chromatid, we have DNA within this one chromatid. When it makes a copy of itself, it means that the chromatid will also be replicated. The chromatid will also be copied. So if we have a if we have a chromosome containing only one chromatid and DNA replication occurs, we are making a copy of the DNA within this chromatid. We will also be replicating or making a copy of the chromatid itself. So the chromosome will move from having one chromatid to having two chromatids. Okay, guys? Now, in actual fact, this replicated chromosome has an original chromatid and a copy of that chromatid. Hence, it has two chromatids. Okay, so unreplicated chromosomes will become replicated chromosomes after DNA replication. And from lesson 3 and lesson 1 of the lesson series on the DNA code of life, you will remember we said that DNA replication occurs during a phase called interphase. Now, I would like to caution you. Interphase is not part of cell division. It is not part of meiosis. It is not part of mitosis. It happens before mitosis and before meiosis. Okay, so it happens before cell division. So during interphase, one of the most important things that happen is that DNA replication occurs. When DNA replication occurs, DNA replication is when DNA makes identical copies of itself. Now, because DNA is found within the chromatid of unreplicated chromosomes, when this DNA copies itself, this chromatid will also be copied. All right? So, an unreplicated chromosome contains the original chromatid plus the copy chromatid. So this copy chromatid will contain the DNA that is identical to the DNA that is found in this chromatid over there. All right. So like I said, this is an unreplicated chromosome. It is a chromosome with one chromatid, and we see that before DNA replication. Hence, it is unreplicated. But after DNA replication, chromosomes will have two chromatids. Hence, we call them replicated chromosomes because they occur after DNA replication. DNA replication is the process that turns unreplicated chromosomes to being replicated, and the phase, the period in time that occurs is during interphase. So as we can see there are notes explaining that unreplicated chromosomes are visible within the cell before DNA replication, and replicated chromosomes are visible within the cell after DNA replication. Okay. In the previous slide, I made mention of interphase. You don't need to know the intricate details about interphase like you were required in grade 10. The points that we will be discussing in the next slide are enough for the grade 12 curriculum. So we will be discussing interphase as it is relevant for the grade 12 curriculum. Let's get right into it. Okay guys, now in this slide, like I said, we will be looking at interphase. I have structured the things that you need to know about interphase in a set of questions. Okay, the first question is, what is interphase? All right, interphase is a phase. The word phase means period in time. Okay, a phase is a period in time. It's a phase in the cell's life cycle where the cell prepares to divide. Okay, guys. Now, interphase is not part of meiosis. It is not part of mitosis. It is a phase where the cell prepares to divide, meaning that interphase occurs before mitosis or before meiosis. It is not part of mitosis. It is not part of meiosis. Second question, when does interphase occur? Interphase occurs before cell division, before mitosis or before meiosis. Like I said, interphase does not form part of mitosis or meiosis. It occurs before the cell divides. It occurs before cell division. The following question, what happens during interphase? Remember, like I said, you don't need to know the nitty-gritties, the fine details of interphase. We are only looking at the things that you need to know about interphase as it applies to the grade 12 curriculum. Okay, so the things that happen during interphase are the following. DNA replication occurs. Remember what DNA replication is? DNA replication is a process where DNA makes identical copies of itself. Remember, don't just say it is a process where DNA makes copies of itself. Or you need not say it's a process where DNA makes similar copies of itself or whatever. You need to use the word identical copies of itself. Okay. Now, what is the effect of DNA replication? When DNA replication occurs, what happens to the chromosomes? The cell doubles its DNA, or you can say the cell doubles its genetic material. Why? Why is this important? To ensure that each daughter cell will get all the required DNA or genetic material of the mother cell. Okay. Now, when DNA replication occurs, the cell doubles its genetic material or doubles its DNA to ensure that each daughter cell will get or receive all the required DNA or genetic material of the mother cell. So it makes sure that when the mother cell divides, the daughter cells will receive all the required DNA or genetic material from itself, from the mother cell. Now, this is the effect of DNA replication in the cell. Like I said, the finer details of what is this? The finer details of interphase are not important. You need to know these concepts, okay, about interphase. Now, when the cell doubles its genetic material, what's going to happen to the chromosomes? Unreplicated chromosomes will now become replicated chromosomes. So all chromosomes that contain only one chromatid, remember, chromosomes that contain one chromatid, we said are unreplicated chromosomes. Now these chromosomes will now, this one chromatid will make a copy of itself. Okay, I'm finding a bit of trouble to draw because remember I am using a mouse, I'm not using a pen. So all unreplicated chromosomes will become replicated, meaning all unreplicated chromosomes will now contain two chromatids that are joined together by a centromere. All the unreplicated chromosomes with one chromatid, will have now two chromatids. So this is the effect of DNA replication that takes place during interphase. You need to be able to answer this question. Okay. Still on the concept of interphase, you guys, I would like to take you back to this picture that I showed you before of what is happening during mitosis. Okay. Now, here is a mother cell just before it goes into cell division. When you check the mother cell, remember the mother cell is the original cell that is going to divide to form daughter cells. Okay. Now, check before the cell divides. Check the type of chromosomes that we have there. We have unreplicated chromosomes within the cell. So this cell is going to undergo interphase. Okay. And then what did we say is the most important thing that happens during interphase? We said the most important thing that happens during interphase is DNA replication. All right. Now, when you look at the chromosomes that we have within the mother cell before it undergoes DNA replication, we have two chromosomes, and these two chromosomes are unreplicated. They have one chromatid each. And then after DNA replication, the chromatids of the unreplicated chromosomes will make a copy each of itself. And then the cell would now contain chromosomes that are replicated. So when you check at this this stage of the cell, you will see that it contains one original chromatid and one copy of that chromatid. So the unreplicated chromosomes after DNA replication will become replicated chromosome. when the chromosomes, when the cell is like this, it is now ready to undergo cell division. Okay, so that is the effect of DNA replication. We said that DNA replication is a process where DNA makes identical copies of itself. So when it does that, remember the DNA is contained within the chromatids of the unreplicated chromosomes. So the unreplicated chromosome, the chromatid of the unreplicated chromosome will make a copy of itself, and it will move from having one chromatid to having two chromatids. And when the cell contains unreplicated chromosomes, now it is ready to divide. So on the slide, we are looking at what do we mean when we talk about somatic cells versus gametes. Okay, let's get right into it. All right, in the human body contains trillions of different types of cells. We have blood cells, we have neurons, we have cells in our stomach, we have cardiac cells in our hearts, we have all these different kinds of cells. Okay, but these cells are divided into two main types of cells. All right, the first main type of cell is called somatic cells. These are body cells. They are known in layman's terms as body cells. However, scientifically, we call them somatic cells. The second type of cell that we have in the body are called gametes or sex cells. Okay, so we have two main divisions of cells: somatic cells, which are known as body cells, or gametes, which are known as sex cells. So let's start by explaining what a gamete is before we go to a somatic cell. Now, gametes are the sperm cell in males and the ovum in females. Remember, an ovum is an egg cell, all right? It is a cell that is fertilized by the sperm in order to make a baby. So gametes are sex cells. Since we have two main sexes, male sex and a female sex, therefore we will have a male gamete, which is a sperm cell, and a female gamete, which is known as an ovum. So there is our sperm cell there that we find in males, and there is our ovum or egg cell that we find in females. All right. However, somatic cells are any cells of the body except a sperm cell or an ovum. Any cell of the body besides a sperm cell or an ovum. So it doesn't matter which cell of the body it is. In males, if it is not a sperm cell. In females, if it is not an ovum, we say it is a somatic cell. So like I said, it doesn't matter what cell it is. It can be a blood cell, it can be a muscle cell, it can be a nerve cell, it can be a bone cell. It does not matter which cell it is. It is referred to as a somatic cell. Okay, guys? As long as it is not a sperm or an ovum, it is a somatic cell. Okay, now, somatic cells differ from gametes by the number of chromosomes they contain. The main difference between somatic cells and gametes is the number of chromosomes they contain within their nuclei. Remember, the word nuclei is plural for nucleus. One nucleus, many nuclei. Okay, so the number of chromosomes that are found within the nucleus of a gamete, sperm cell, and ovum differs from the number of chromosomes that are found inside any somatic cell. Okay, now we say that somatic cells always contain, gametes always contain one set of chromosomes in their nucleus. They contain one set of chromosomes within their nucleus. What do we mean by that? Within the nucleus of a male sperm, we find chromosomes, a set of chromosomes or a group of chromosomes that come from the male himself. So these chromosomes, a group of these chromosomes, we call one set. It is the set of chromosomes that come from the male. They are found inside the nucleus of the sperm. And in the ovum, inside the ovum, we will find chromosomes, a group or a set of chromosomes of the female. Okay? So the ovum contains one set of chromosomes, a group of chromosomes of the female, and the sperm contains one set of chromosomes or a group of chromosomes from the male. So each gamete, the sperm cell contains the male set of chromosomes, one set, and then the female ovum contains the female set of chromosomes, which is also one set. So a cell that contains one set of chromosomes we refer to as being haploid. A haploid cell is a cell that contains only one set of chromosomes. Since it is only the gametes that contain only one set of chromosomes, we say that only gametes are haploid. I repeat, cells that contain one set of chromosomes are said to be haploid, and we indicate that by a small letter N. So this is our symbol that we show that a cell has one set of chromosomes. The sperm contains the male set of chromosomes, one set. The ovum contains one set of chromosomes, which is the female set of chromosomes, okay? And we say that the sperm and the ovum are haploid. Why? Because they contain only one set of chromosomes. All right. However, somatic cells always have two sets of chromosomes inside their nucleus. Now, where did they get the two sets of chromosomes? Remember, during fertilization, the nucleus of the sperm, okay, the nucleus of the sperm containing one set of chromosomes will fertilize the nucleus of the ovum, which also contain one set of chromosomes. So this one set plus this one set will combine or will fuse during fertilization to form how many sets? One set plus one set equals two sets. Okay, so the child in his somatic cells or body cells will contain two sets of chromosomes. One set is from the sperm of the male, and one set is from the ovum of the male. They come together during fertilization, and one set plus one set gives us two sets. So if we call a cell that contains one set of chromosomes haploid, we call a cell that contains two sets of chromosomes, we say it is diploid. And a cell that contains two sets of chromosomes, the symbol that we use is 2N. 2N refers to the fact that it has two sets of chromosomes. And cells that contain two sets of chromosomes are somatic cells. However, gametes only contain one set of chromosomes. Okay, so a haploid cell is a cell that contains one set of chromosomes, and gametes are always haploid. And a cell that contains two sets of chromosomes, we say that it is diploid, and somatic cells are always diploid. So somatic cells differ from gametes by the number Okay, on the next slide, we will be emphasizing on the story of a diploid cell versus a haploid cell. All right, we said that gametes are always haploid. Why? Because they contain one set of chromosomes. So there we have an ovum, and then this ovum, as you can see, has chromosomes within its nucleus. Okay, so this will be the set of chromosomes that belong to the ovum. This is one set. Okay, so this is the female gamete, the ovum. It contains the female set of chromosomes, which is only one set, and it carries the mother's hereditary information. Okay, so all the characteristics or the traits that the mother has, the eye color, the color of her hair, the shape of the nose, her foot size, and everything, it is stored within the DNA that is on the chromosomes, on the female set of chromosomes. All right. So next, we have the sperm cell. This is our male gamete. The male gamete contains the male set of chromosomes. This is also one set. It is haploid. All right. And then the sperm cell contains hereditary information of the male. Again, all his characteristics are stored within the DNA that is found within the chromosomes. Okay, so his eye color, eye shape, blood type, how tall he's going to be, his his skin tone, foot size, all of those characteristics and all of those traits are hereditary information and are stored in the DNA within these chromosomes. So the ovum, like I said in the previous slide, contains the female set of chromosomes, only one set, and the male contains one set of chromosomes. And during fertilization, the nucleus containing one set of the ovum will be fertilized by the nucleus of the sperm containing the male set of chromosome to form a cell that we call a zygote. Now, a zygote contains both the male set and the female set of chromosomes. It contains two sets of chromosomes. It has the blue chromosomes, which represents the male set of chromosomes, and it also has the pink chromosomes, which represent the female set of chromosomes. So it contains two sets of chromosomes, and if a cell has two sets of chromosomes, remember we said that it is diploid. Di for two. The symbol that we use is 2N, meaning two sets of chromosomes. So the zygote will eventually develop into a baby, and then the baby will be born, and then they will grow up to be an adult male or an adult female. Okay, so this is the first cell of the offspring. So the zygote inherits both the mother's DNA, both the DNA of the mother and the DNA of the father within their sets of chromosomes. All right. Now, a set of chromosomes versus the number of chromosomes in humans. Listen to me. A set just means a group of chromosomes that come from the ovum and another group of chromosomes that come from the sperm cell. One set, one group. Okay? They fuse during fertilization to form two sets or two groups. However, this differs from the number of chromosomes. All right, guys? So the ovum contains one set of chromosomes, but the number of individual chromosomes in a human ovum is 23 chromosomes. So the human ovum has one set of chromosomes or one group of chromosomes that are made up of 23 chromosomes in number. The sperm cell also contains one set of chromosomes. Okay, the human sperm cell contains one set of chromosomes, and this one set of chromosomes is made up of 23 chromosomes in number. All right, meaning if we combine one set plus one set, we have two sets. So since one set contains 23 chromosomes, it will be 23 of the ovum plus 23 of the sperm cell, and the zygote will contain 46. So the set of chromosomes, it just means a group of chromosomes. And then within the one set of chromosomes in humans, we have 23 chromosomes. So a haploid gamete, a haploid cell in humans, is a cell containing one set of chromosomes. So the haploid number in humans equals 23 chromosomes. Okay, so 23 chromosomes, one set, plus 23 chromosomes, one set, will give us a zygote with 46. Therefore, the haploid number is 23. On the previous slide, we said that a haploid number of chromosomes, remember which cells are haploid? This would be in gametes, okay? Gametes contain a haploid number of chromosomes, haploid meaning only one set, okay? Now, a haploid number of chromosomes in humans equals to 23, all right? And then a diploid number of chromosomes, remember diploid number of chromosomes means two sets of chromosomes. And which cells did we say are diploid always? Those are somatic cells. And a diploid number of chromosomes in humans contains 46 chromosomes. But that is in humans, okay? That is in human beings. Remember this, please. Each plant and animal species has a unique number of chromosomes. Therefore, the diploid and haploid number of chromosomes differs according to the organism species. Okay, guys, 23 chromosomes is one set in human beings. But it does not mean each and every single plant and animal species has 23 chromosomes in one set. Okay, it differs. So here I've taken a few examples of different organisms to emphasize this point. Like we said, in human beings, the diploid number of chromosomes, so each somatic cell will have 46 chromosomes. Okay, now if you are given a diploid number of chromosomes and you are asked what is the haploid number of chromosomes, all you have to do is take the diploid number. To get to the haploid number, you need to divide by 2. The haploid number is half the diploid number. So 46 is the diploid number in humans. You divide that by 2, and each gamete will have 23 chromosomes, which is the haploid number of chromosomes. Let's look at the other organism. In a horse, the horse has 66 chromosomes in its somatic cells. So 66 is its diploid number. But each gamete would have a haploid number of how much? Remember, if you are given a diploid number, you just divide that by 2 to get the haploid number. Okay, because like I said, the haploid number is half the number of chromosomes as the diploid number. So half of 66 would be 33. So each sperm cell and each ovum would have one set of chromosomes, haploid number of chromosomes of how many chromosomes in total? It would have 33. So if the ovum has 33 chromosomes and the sperm has 33 chromosomes, then it means when they combine 33 plus 33, haploid plus haploid will give us a diploid number of 66 chromosomes. What about a dog? What about a dog? In the sperm cells of dogs and in the ova of dogs, remember ova, many, ovum, one. Okay? In the sperm cell and in the ova of dogs, we have one set of chromosomes. Haploid number of chromosomes would be 39. Okay? Now, how do you get from a haploid number to a diploid number of chromosomes? You just have to multiply by 2. Because remember, I said the haploid number is half the diploid number. So, 39 in a sperm, 39 in an ovum of a dog. When you combine those, they are going to give you a diploid number of 76. Our next organism is a goldfish. The sperm cell of a goldfish would contain 47 chromosomes, and the ovum of a goldfish would also contain 47 chromosomes. Okay? How do you move from a haploid number to a diploid number? You multiply the haploid number by 2, and then you will get the diploid number. So, it means that the goldfish would contain 94 chromosomes in its somatic cells. And is the diploid number. All right. Let's learn this word. There's a word that I would like for us to learn, and that word is gametogenesis. Prefix gameto refers to gametes, and genesis refers to making of something. Okay? So when we speak about gametogenesis, we are speaking about the making of gametes. So gametogenesis is a term that refers to the making of gametes. All right? Now, remember, we have two sexes. Therefore, we have two sex cells, or we have two gametes. So, the word gametogenesis is just an umbrella term that refers to the production of gametes. Okay? But remember, we have two types of gametes. In males, we have sperm cells, and in females, we have ova. One ovum, many ova. Okay? Now, spermatogenesis is a term that refers to the production of sperm cells. Look at the prefix. Spermato refers to sperm cells. Genesis refers to making or production. So spermatogenesis is the making of sperm cells. And we have this word over here, oogenesis. Now, oogenesis, the prefix oo would refer to the ovum, and then genesis refers to the making or the production of. So oogenesis is the production of ova. Okay. Now, the production of sperm cells, like we said, is called spermatogenesis, and the production of ova is called oogenesis. And the umbrella term referring to the production of both is gametogenesis. Right. In males, spermatogenesis takes place in the testicles, and then in females, oogenesis takes place in the ovaries. Okay? So the testicles, that's where spermatogenesis takes place, where we produce sperm cells. And then we have oogenesis that takes place there in the ovaries. All right. So that was important information for us to know, because on the next slide, we will be looking at the human life cycle, and I am going to refer to gametogenesis, spermatogenesis, and oogenesis. You need to understand those three terms. All right. So like I said on the previous slide, we are going to be looking at the human life cycle in the following slide. On the slide, we will be looking at the different stages and the different processes that takes place throughout the human life cycle. All right, where do we start? Let us start there with meiosis, okay? Now, meiosis is a cell division, just like mitosis that you learned about in grade 10, but meiosis and mitosis differ. There are specific elements that differ, that differentiate meiosis from mitosis. Now, mitosis is a cell division, like you learned in grade 10, that is responsible for growth. It makes more cells for growth. It is there to replace the cells that die each and every single day, okay? And in certain organisms, mitosis is responsible for asexual reproduction, like you learned in grade 10. However, this particular cell division, meiosis, is responsible for a few things that are related to sexual reproduction. So meiosis has nothing to do with growth. It has nothing to do with asexual reproduction. It has nothing to do with replacing of dead cells. Meiosis has to deal with sexual reproduction. And how does it do this? So meiosis is a type of cell division that is responsible for, firstly, the production of gametes. So meiosis produces gametes. And what did we say is the general term that we use to describe the production of gametes? That is gametogenesis. Okay? But remember, we have two types of gametes depending on each person's sex. We have sperm cells and we have ova. All right? Therefore, through spermatogenesis, all right, the specific type of gametogenesis that produces sperm cells is called spermatogenesis. So in males, the type of gametogenesis that will take place is spermatogenesis to produce sperm cells. And the specific type of gametogenesis that will take place in females is called oogenesis. And every 28 days, a female will produce one ovum. All right? The second significance or importance of meiosis is that, remember, sperm cells need to be haploid, and then an ovum also needs to be haploid, okay? Because during fertilization, the haploid number of chromosomes in the sperm cell will combine with the haploid number of chromosomes in the egg cell to make a diploid cell. So meiosis does not only produce gametes, it makes sure that it reduces the number of chromosomes from diploid to haploid in these gametes. So it ensures that the gametes are always haploid. All right? And then there we go. It produces a sperm that is haploid, and it would produce an ovum that is also haploid. All right? So haploid number in humans, like we said, is 23 and 23. Okay. So the importance of this is to prevent the doubling effect of fertilization. We'll talk about the doubling effect of fertilization in a moment. The last significance or the last importance of meiosis is that it ensures that each sperm and ovum produced is genetically different. Okay? Each sperm cells, each sperm cell that is produced by meiosis and each ovum that is produced by meiosis is different from other sperm cells and is different from other ova that are produced each and every single month. Something interesting to know, that males produce millions of different sperm cells each and every single day. Each and every single day, males produce millions of sperm cells in the testicles. However, meiosis makes sure that each one of those sperm cells are genetically different from each other. The combination of genes in the chromosomes of the sperm cell would not be the same as the combination of genes in the chromosomes of the sperm cell of another sperm cell. Okay? So, in short, meiosis ensures genetic variation. Okay? Now, the short end of it, if you're asked for the significance or importance of meiosis, 3 significances or 3 importances of meiosis, you are going to say that meiosis produces gametes. It makes sure that those gametes are haploid. And lastly, it makes sure that those gametes are genetically different from each other. All right. Now, remember that gametes are useless alone. Sperm cells are useless alone, and an ovum is useless alone. They need to fertilize because they are codependent. Okay? They are sex cells, so they depend on each other for reproduction. So, the sperm cell will travel to the ovum, as you can see over there, and the nucleus of a sperm cell that contains the male set of chromosomes will combine with the nucleus or fuse with the nucleus of the ovum containing the female set of chromosomes, and they are going to produce a cell that is called a zygote. Okay, so what a zygote is, it is a fertilized ovum. All right, now the zygote is diploid. Why is the zygote diploid? The zygote contains 23 chromosomes of the sperm and 23 chromosomes of the ovum, which is going to be 46. Remember what we said? Haploid plus haploid is going to give us diploid. All right, and that is possible because of fertilization. When you're asked what the term fertilization means, the answer is going to be fertilization is when the nucleus of a haploid sperm fuses with the nucleus of a haploid ovum to make a diploid zygote. Okay, now the story about fertilization is a process where the sperm fertilizes the ovum. That is grade 9 things, okay? That is a description in grade 9. However, in grade 12, you are required to say that fertilization is when the nucleus of a haploid sperm fuses with the nucleus of a haploid ovum to make a diploid zygote. Okay, so as you can see over there, the zygote is a somatic cell. Why? Because the zygote contains 2 sets of chromosomes. 1 set from the sperm and 1 set from the ovum. Now, fertilization doubles the number of chromosomes in the zygote. Why do I say it doubles the number of chromosomes? Because it takes 1 set from the sperm and 1 set from the ovum, and it fuses them to create 2 sets in the zygote. Okay, now let's go back to the function of meiosis. The second function of meiosis. What did we say meiosis does? We said that meiosis reduces the number of chromosomes from diploid to haploid in gametes. It prevents the doubling effect of fertilization. That's what we said. Now, the sperm cell and the ovum must be haploid at all times. It must be haploid by all times. Why? Because haploid plus haploid is going to give us diploid. Imagine if the sperm cell was diploid and the ovum was also diploid. So diploid plus diploid, meaning 2 sets of chromosomes plus 2 sets of chromosomes was going to give us a quadruploid zygote. And a quadruploid zygote would have 4 sets of chromosomes. And we know that that can't be possible in humans. Okay, guys? Human somatic cells are supposed to have a diploid number of chromosomes. Okay? Which contain 46 chromosomes, the number. But if a sperm cell was diploid, having 46 chromosomes, and an ovum was also diploid, having 46 chromosomes, at fertilization or after fertilization, we would have a quadruploid zygote containing 92 chromosomes, and that is invalid in human beings. Okay? So, to prevent this from happening, every time meiosis produces gametes, it ensures that the number of gametes is haploid, always. It contains 23 chromosomes each, so that when they fertilize, they give us a diploid zygote. Okay. Now, a zygote is a fertilized ovum. It is a product of a sperm cell having fertilized an ovum. It is only one cell. But remember, human beings contain trillions of different cells. So all of us, each and every single one of us, was unicellular at some point. We were one cell, which was a zygote. Okay? Now, how does a baby, for example, move from being one cell to being multicellular, to having many cells? It means that this one cell, being the zygote, needs to divide and make more cells of itself, from itself. Okay? And what is the cell division that is responsible for growth? Like we said, that cell division is mitosis. So the zygote will actually divide to make more cells and more cells and more cells, and that cell division is referred to as mitosis. Okay? So we move from being a zygote, one cell, to being an adult male and an adult female eventually through the process of mitosis. So in the human life cycle, mitosis is responsible for making more somatic cells. The zygote grows into a fetus, and then that fetus will be born. Okay? So we move from being that one cell to being that eventually during pregnancy, a fetus, and the fetus will be born as a baby, and that baby will eventually grow into an adult male and an adult female. What I want you to check here is that, remember, the zygote is a somatic cell because it contains 2 sets of chromosomes. Now, when it divides by mitosis, it will make more somatic cells. Remember, mitosis is a cell division where the original cell makes daughter cells that are identical to the mother cell. Okay, guys? So the zygote will make more of the same cell containing the same number of chromosomes and the same genes. Okay? So the zygote will divide and divide and divide and divide and divide. Those cells that are a product of the zygote will divide themselves to make more and more and more and more and more. And eventually we will have a fetus. Then the fetus will be born. Then as the fetus is born, then the baby will grow eventually to be an adult male and an adult female. The somatic cells of an adult male and an adult female, remember, contain 2 sets of chromosomes. Alright? Now, the adult male produces sperm cells. The adult female produces egg cells. However, those are haploid. The sperm cells and the ovum is haploid. How does a diploid cell produce a haploid cell? that is where meiosis comes in. And we start all the way from the beginning. So during meiosis, cells of the adult male and cells of the adult female that are diploid will divide by meiosis to produce sperm cells and ova that are haploid. Remember, look at the second function of meiosis. It reduces the number of chromosomes in the gametes from diploid to haploid. Remember, meiosis produces gametes and it ensures that those gametes are haploid. And then the life cycle goes over and over and over and over and over again. Just